Hey guys, I'm Tom Froze, and this is Blueberry, and she's being annoying right now. You gonna let me record my video? Okay. So yeah, I'm an illustrator and designer in Vancouver, British Columbia, and basically I've started answering your questions here in video format because I get a lot of questions, and it's actually easier for me to answer them just by recording myself talking than emailing and repeating. There's a lot of questions I get, a lot of the same ones often. So hopefully I can start building up an archive of my answers here that you and future aspiring illustrators can learn from. When I was just starting out, there were a lot of people who helped me and answered questions for me, and there are also a lot of things that no one ever told me. So that's what this is about. So I have a few Skillshare classes. One's called Inky Illustrations and others called Inky Maps. Those are my kind of two flagship classes where I teach how to illustrate using digital and analog techniques in Photoshop. So these questions and this effort is actually kind of born out of those classes as a way of supplementing the classes, but also just, I know there's a lot of people who aren't on Skillshare who will get a lot from this just by this being available here on YouTube. So thanks for your questions, and I have a new question today from Jess Minc via Skillshare. She asks, once I have a site with cool work on it, then what? And at first, I'm going to be honest that the question seemed very broad and hard to answer, and I wasn't sure I would be answering it unless I got a little bit more information from her. But I'm gonna try it anyway. So Jess, thank you for your question. It's a challenging question to answer, but I think I've got an answer for you. So your question makes me ask questions. If you have work on your website, where did it come from? Like, who did you do it for? And like, what kind of work is it? So if you have work on your website and it's client work and you think it's good, then you probably have the ball rolling already, and clients they already have you on mind, and they're going to be coming to you for work. I'm assuming that you're just starting out or like fairly early on in your career, so I'll answer the question from that angle. So a website is amazing and a very important thing to have, and you need to have good work on it. I think we all know this, and the work needs to be of good quality. So what can you do directly on the website? You can make sure that the work is representative of the kind of work you want to do, that it's well pruned, that it's showing only good work and only your best work. And if you don't have a lot of work on it right now, then fluff it out with context. So if your images were in a bus shelter or meant to be on a tote bag, show it on those things. Don't just show your illustration in isolation. Always include a short blurb about the work that talks about how you solved the problem and kind of something unique about it. 300 characters or less. Don't write a big novel. And for each piece, link out to have links or include credits to the client and their website, the agency you did it for, and or the art director who you worked with. Because every link to someone outside of your website, extends the reach of that web page and increases the likelihood that when people search for these other things, that they'll lead back to your website. So that's kind of fairly basic stuff this day and age. Of course, your website isn't the only thing. There's of course, you have to be active on social. So you have to at least have an Instagram account, which, like, at the time of this recording is the going thing for illustrators. I haven't seen anything come close to Instagram in terms of the ability to share illustration work with a broad audience. Post work every day to Instagram. If you don't have work to show, make it for Instagram, because Instagram right now is like almost more important than your portfolio. And that's where people are, and that's where people are likely to encounter your work first. Then have a link to your website in your bio, and when people want to know more, that's where they're going to see like the bigger story on your website. Have an about page, have a blog if you're a writer. Have stuff that makes your website a bit sticky, to use an old school term. Make people want to stick around, look at your work, and as you work, constantly keep it fresh, put new work up, take old work that may not represent what you want to be doing, or it's like an earlier stage in your development that you may not want to that may not work with the overall set of work that you're showing. But let's just assume you have a website and you're happy with it. Okay. The next thing to do is you need to find clients, and we all live in localities. We all live in a city or somewhere where there's other people who need illustration, and that's always where you're gonna start. When I first started out here in Vancouver, I was actually mostly designing, but I was really eager to sort of get my work out and reach out to maybe bigger opportunities than what I had started out with. So I was always reaching out to art directors at larger studios and agencies, asking them if they'd look at my work, if they like, and this time it was kind of illustration and design, mostly design at the time. But I just asked, would I be able to come and take a tour of your studio? I didn't ask them for an interview, and sometimes I was able to get a portfolio review, and I got feedback, and I could tell just based on how the art directors responded to my work. I could obviously get critical feedback and encouragement when they liked my stuff, and that kind of steered me in a certain direction based on what seemed to work, of course. So that was a huge thing for me. It was just going and meeting people. Of course, going to local events like Creative Mornings, going to conferences if you're able, especially if they're local. To start, go to these things, meet people. They're super awkward, but when you're just someone on the internet, you're just bidding for your attention along with the millions of other things. But when you're in person, there's more memorability in those experiences. Since you're meeting people in person, have printed business cards or postcards, and make them unique and special. If you have enamel pins, for instance, hand those out. If you have specialty printing like letterpress is always a nice memorable way of making something that someone's going to want to keep. My own business cards and postcards are letterpressed, and people want to keep those things. They're not just like promoting me, but there's something that's valuable for someone else to keep, and people have even put them up on their walls, and so that's the kind of thing you want to aim to give out, just these nice little things that really represent your work that other people resonate with. So work your connections as much as possible. Once you start getting work and clients, and you do good work and they're happy with you, they're going to come back to you. Just for instance, we're doing renovations in our house right now, and we're thinking about who to call to do certain things. We automatically assume we're going to go with the people we've gone with before if they've done good work. And why would we want to start a new relationship? If we had a guy who did our doors, why would we want another guy to do our doors? We like that consistency, and I think most clients are like that. Similarly, we've had people who've done work on our house that we're not pleased with, and they did okay work, but they were sloppy in their service, or they were late all the time. And we remember that, and we'll probably not call those people up anymore. So yeah, be someone your clients will want to work with again. So Jess, thanks for your question. I hope that helps. If I've left any gaps, or if this makes new questions, please ask, because I love answering your questions, and just creates more content to share with you guys. Whatever you want to know about illustration, the business, my process, ask away, and I'll just be looking for some great questions to answer, trying to answer them as best as possible. You can check my workout at tomfroze.com. That's my website. I'm on Instagram at Mr. Tom Froze, and I'm on Twitter at Tom Froze. And of course, you can find me at Skillshare. You just look my name up, and I have three sort of most popular classes right now: Inky Illustrations, Inky Maps, and a Pen Tool Wizard, which is actually a free class, and you don't need to have a paid Skillshare membership for that one. So go and check them out. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to answering your questions.